Hi, it's Jordan Teen 1, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make these cute and easy little angel wings. So you can make them as a charm just to hang on their own, or if you've made a figure or a different creation you can add them to it. And my main purpose for making these is that I made them to go with my little angel girl. So I have a tutorial that will be coming up shortly for that. I'm just in the process of working on it. I can give you a little glimpse of what she looks like. She's still a little bit of a work in progress, but I almost have her to the point where I'm happy. I'll just show you her briefly here. And then of course I'm going to attach the wings. So here's what she'll look like with her little wings. So as I said, this tutorial is just for the wings, so let's get started on those. To make your angel wings, you're going to need a hook of some sort. So I'm using a rainbow loom metal hook, and then as far as your band counts go, you're going to need 124 white, or whatever color you want your wings to be. We're going to begin with a magic ring of 5. So I have my 5 bands. I'm going to take my first one, I'm going to treble this on my hook, so I'm twisting, putting it back on, twisting, putting it back on, so I'll have 3 loops, and then one at a time I'm just going to slide this band through, back on, and once you have a little tail here, it helps if you grab onto that as you're sliding through. So that's my 4th band and my 5th. In the second row, we're going to use 4 bands, and you should have 2 bands on your hook at this point from our last chain, and what we're going to do is take one end and pull it through the other. Now just leave it loose though, don't pull it tight, and then I'm going to go back in through this same chain where this band is coming up through, and I'm going from front to back. I'm going to pull through, back on, so I have 3 loops and one through the other. So that's a single crochet. I'm going down to the next chain, again always front to back, pull through, back on, 1 loop through the other 2. Next one, doing a single crochet, and then finally you're going to have this tripled band. It is going to be tight, but you want to go through all 3 of those loops, one through the other. Oops, I got hung up there a little bit. Back on and through. In row 3, we're going to need 4 bands. So if you look here, we had ended with our hook on the left. So what you're going to do is flip this over so your hook is on the right. And in this tutorial we are going to always be going from front to back. If you're familiar with any of my other tutorials, I usually change direction that the hook is going when we flip every time, but I wanted to have a ridged sort of a look, or a different look for each row, so I'm always going to push from front to back. So on the end here where your hook is coming up through, you're going to push through that stitch front to back, and we're doing 1 in each. So there's 2, 3, and then 1 more. You'll need 6 bands for row 4, and we're going to start an increasing pattern. So we're going to start on an increase, 2 singles, and then we're going to end on an increase. So again, your hook's over on the left, you want to flip it around so your hook's on the right. I'm going to continue going in from front to back. So I have 2 single crochet in the first stitch for my increase, so that's 1, back through the same stitch for a second, and then in the middle here I have a single in each, so it's going to be 2 stitches here, so that's 1, 2, And now from this point on, we're actually going to be out of stitches when we get to the end of our row, but we're going to make a stitch. So if you look from the top here, it sort of looks like a stitch. It still looks like a V, but it's smaller and tighter. So you need to go under that. We're going to do an increase. So I have my first and then back through again for my second. In row 5 you'll need 8 bands. It's going to be an increase, 4 singles, and an increase. So I have my hook over here to the right, starting on this very end stitch that my band is coming up through. So I have 2 to start here, and then I have 4 singles. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then again we're kind of out of stitches, but we're going to make one. So on the end here, this little V, you're going under both loops, and we're going to do 2. So 1 and 2. In row 6 you'll need 10 bands, and we're doing an increase, 6 singles, and an increase. So your hook should be on the right. You're going from front to back. So I have my increase to start. So you should notice that your rows are getting larger every time here. And then we have our 6 singles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you kind of have to go a little bit over to the side to this last little false stitch, and it definitely is a little tighter to get under. And we have our increase. We'll use 12 bands for row 8, so increase, 8 singles, and an increase. So it's definitely fanning out here. So we have our 2, and now 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then again squeeze through this little part on the end, and we have our increase. So if you think that your wings are sort of folding in a little bit, you can just take a second and sort of just stretch those out a little bit. Row 8 is going to be our final row for the one side, so you're going to need 14 bands. We're starting with our increase, and then we're going to do 10 singles. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then finally squeeze through the end here. And we should have 2 left. And again, if it's folding in, just take a second and sort of spread these out. And then what we're going to do is take one additional band just to tie this off. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go maybe to this next band down that's sort of in the middle. I'm going to push through a loop or two. Take that last band, I'm going to pull through everything, one through the other, make a nice and tight slip knot, and then I'm just going to come down through some of these loops and pull this extra loop down just to hide this. So you probably have to go through several to get it completely hidden. So we have now just completed half. Row 9 is going to start the second half of our wings, and so for that I have 5 bands. I'm doing 3 singles and then I'm doing an increase in the last chain. So here's what we've made so far. We want to be working on the front side, and what I'm considering the front side is the opposite side from where we made the slip knot and hid that loose loop. So I'm going to the opposite side of that, and where this tripled band is, where we started our first chain, is going to be on the right. So I'm going to push through from front to back, and I'm going to start with a single, and then in the next chain, 1, same thing for the next chain, just 1, and then in the last chain I'm putting 2 just to mirror what we first had done. So we have the first one and then 1 more. In row 10 we have 4 bands. We're doing just 4 singles. So again, you're always going front to back. Nothing's changing. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you're going to actually have 4 stitches to go through this time. Row 11 starts our increases, so increase, 2 singles and an increase. That's 6 bands. So through this first one I have 2. And then 2 singles. And now here's where we're going to have to start to create that last stitch. So pushing through, we have an increase. There are 8 bands in row 12, so increase, 4 singles, and an increase. So hopefully everyone's getting the hang of this. It really is pretty easy. So I have 2, and then my 4 singles. I guess I'm not going to bother to count them out every time. I did that for the first half, but I always wonder if everybody gets sick of me repeating, and I get sick of hearing myself repeat. So that's our 4 in the middle, and then make that last little stitch for the increase. In row 13 we have 10 bands, so it's an increase and then 6 singles in the middle followed by an increase. So we're definitely getting down here. There's not too many more rows to go. So that was my increase, and then I have my 6 singles. I think if you were to make these in black, they would make good bat wings, like Batman or an actual bat. So then here's my 6th one and my increase. In row 14 we'll be using 12 bands, so increase, 8, and increase. This is actually our second to last row. Now we have our 8 in the middle. And then my increase. So again, if these are curling, you can straighten them out. Looks like they are going to have some curl to them. At least when they do curve, you want them curving in the same direction. In row 15, you'll need 14 bands. This is our last row, so it's an increase, 10, and an increase. So here's our increase to start. And now our 10 singles. So hopefully you guys were able to do this nice and quick. And if you're doing the angel tutorial, the other part is going to take a lot longer, but at least this is nice and easy and quick. Or maybe you're just making these to stand on their own or to attach them to another figure that you've created. So here's my 10th stitch, at least my 10th single stitch, and then the increase. And then just like we tied off this side, we're going to have to do that again. So I'm going to take one additional band, and I want to make sure I'm going on the back side. And I'm just going to go through a band or two right in the middle. Pull this one through everything, make a slip knot, nice and tight. And then finally just go down through some of the bands on the back, as many as you need to. Just to hide the loop. And then any kind of adjusting to the edges or whatever you need to do, you can do now. And then your angel wings are done. I hope that everyone loves their new little angel wings. You can always leave me comments on YouTube and Facebook. You can post pictures of your creations to my Facebook page. I love to see what everyone's made. And you can subscribe to my YouTube channel so that way you can stay up to date when I have my newest tutorials uploaded. You can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram, so please feel free to subscribe to those and leave comments and pictures there too. Thanks for watching!